here's a look at the radar imagery.
When it's moving so quickly now.
It's clear Idalia needs to be taken seriously.
Governor Roy Cooper is declaring a state of emergency.
Your source for the most up-to-date coverage on Idalia. This is WNCT 9 News.
And we have full team coverage, reporters all over eastern North Carolina all night tonight as Idalia makes its approach. We will get to each of them for reports from where they are in just a moment. But we begin with a look right now at this storm.
Storm Team 9 Chief Meteorologist Jerry Jackson joins us now. So, Jerry, what's the latest at this hour?
Well, we'll start out with the piece of good news first. What was Hurricane Idalia is now Tropical Storm Idalia. As expected, it started to lose its organization after making landfall in Florida. But don't be fooled by that. Even though the weather has been reasonably quiet in eastern North Carolina so far today, Idalia is still going to cause significant impact for us as we head deeper into the night. The circulation is still very well defined at the moment, and some heavier bands of wind and rain are lurking just to our south, where tornado warnings have already been in effect across South Carolina, and a tornado watch is likely going to be issued northward into our area as we head deeper into the night tonight. This is the latest guidance from the National Hurricane Center on Idalia. The center of circulation is going to track essentially into the North Carolina coastal waters tonight throughout the first part of the day on Thursday. This is the way everything looks on our precision cast model. Notice the wind direction will start out initially out of the east-southeast tonight for our coastal waters. By the time we hit 9 or 10 o'clock especially, we'll see those heavier bands of more gusty wind and tornado potential move in. And then the low begins to transition to the north and east. We stay under unsettled weather through the overnight into early tomorrow morning. And then notice how it begins to take a jog to the east by lunchtime tomorrow, and our winds will change direction and become more northerly. So the storm surge forecast is going to be kind of all over the place as we'll be dealing with a system that has changing wind direction as it moves through. But Idalia is out of here by late Thursday night, setting us up for sunshine into Friday and Saturday. So thankfully, it'll be a fast moving system for us, not one that stalls out for days on end. Most of our counties are going to see several inches of rain, but some of our southern counties could pick up as high as 4 to 6, maybe even pockets of 6 to 10 inches of rain. That'll be enough for some flash flooding concerns. Could see some 30 to 50 mile per hour gusts in some of the squall lines that move through, but it won't blow that strong continuously, and there is an elevated risk of tornado activity later tonight. We'll have much more detail county by county coming up. The longest running newscast in the East starts now.
And as Idalia gets closer to North Carolina tonight, Governor Roy Cooper says the state is taking steps to get ready for this storm.
He says his main concerns are heavy rain and flash flooding across eastern and central North Carolina. The governor has activated the National Guard and swiftwater rescue teams are ready as well. The governor declared a state of emergency earlier this week, and President Joe Biden says he will offer up anything the state may need.
People need to remember, you see this cone of influence, so to speak, of the hurricane. You can still feel effects way outside of that zone.
Now, Governor Cooper also wants all communities to be ready for whatever comes, even those outside of the storm's path, as anything could change.
We have our team of reporters all across the east tonight. 90 your side, Sarah Gray Bars at Union Point Park in New Bern. Aaron Jenkins will join us from Atlantic Beach. While we start in North Topsail Beach in Onslow County, where Claire Curry kicks off her coverage. People who live there have been getting ready all day long. So, Claire, how's it holding up out there now?
Ken, it's been a relatively calm day here in North Topsail Beach. Right now, I'm at the Onslow County Beach Access number 4. And in the last 30 minutes or so, the tide has came up quite a bit closer to the dunes. There's still some surfers out enjoying some last-minute waves and some sprinkles coming down, but that's not stopping people from getting prepared just in case. I spoke with residents along the coast about if they're concerned with the impending weather. One resident says she thinks she'll get through it just by staying at home and riding it out.
I've been here over 30 years, but Florence really taught me a lesson about being prepared for more than 3 days. 5 days I was without electricity, couldn't get in or out.
As many were picking up last-minute items to get them through Idalia's impacts here on the coast.
Be prepared for each family member. Make sure you have water, you have non-perishable items for each of your family members. Gas up your car.
One resident says his biggest concern is the roadways.
I think also the flooding around Jacksonville is a big issue as well. And people just need to remember that I don't want to be out driving, especially if the floods are taking place.
The town of North Topsail Beach is also preparing for the worst Idalia might bring.
We experienced flooding in the north end area, so we had posted the road closed at New River Inlet Road in front of where the reef is at that intersection, just advising people in that area of high water and the road closure.
And declaring a state of emergency ahead of the storm.
We've been out there and doing beach sweeps, removing personal property items that have been left behind to make sure that they don't become projectiles.
The town is using their drone as well to have a better look at the dune erosion before and after the storm. Governor Roy Cooper also declared a statewide state of emergency this week, reminding residents it's better to be safe than sorry.
We still aren't sure of the track of the storm, so it's really important for everybody to be prepared.
It's important to stay up to date on the changing weather conditions as they develop, so stay tuned with us on WNCT online and on air for updates. Live in North Topsail Beach, Claire Curry, 9 on your side.
All right, Claire, thank you. We're also tracking conditions up the coast at Atlantic Beach. Not on your sides. Aaron Jenkins is live there now. So, Aaron, what are conditions looking like right now?
Well, Angie, right now we're at the Oceana Pier. What I can tell you, it's still cloudy, a little windy, but the rain has started here in Atlantic Beach. Earlier, there was just a few raindrops, so we actually had to move under cover to hide from some of that. Now, there are still people out and about today, though. A lot of people are grabbing their umbrellas, their rain gears, and hitting the pier, the beach. Earlier, we showed you some of those surfers were out there taking full advantage of the waves from Storm Idalia today. Now, I did speak with Carteret County officials today who say they're keeping a close eye on the storm. They say there's nothing out of the usual for their preparations, but they're really just monitoring these conditions and are going to keep everyone up to date as this storm moves our way. Now, right now, there are still red flags here at Atlantic Beach, which the fire department says is a good sign that you really need to stay out of the water. If you are coming down here to catch a few waves before the storm truly hits, just make sure you're staying safe while you're out there and watching for any rip currents. We're, of course, going to keep you updated as conditions change here at Atlantic Beach throughout the night and into the morning. Angie, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Aaron Jenkins, thank you. Going further up the coast, officials along the Outer Banks are urging everyone to keep an eye on Idalia. It's been a nice day in Nags Head today. Good enough for some surfing on the big waves both Franklin and Idalia are bringing to the coast. Emergency officials in Dare County say they're ready for whatever is left of Idalia when it gets to them.
The greatest impacts of winds is going to be down on Hatteras Island once again. Rain is really going to be a challenge. There's a forecast for 4 to 8 with some localized flooding.
Red flags are up on beaches up and down the coast, so if you're not a good swimmer, don't get in the water.
Let's bring things inland now. 9 on your side, Sarah Gray Barr joins us live from New Bern's Union Point Park. Sarah Gray, you spent the day speaking with county officials there. What did they tell you?
Ken, for many, Idalia could be the biggest storm people have seen since Florence. And when I caught up with county officials earlier today, county emergency management, they're saying that everyone needs to be careful because one tragedy is one too many. It rained on and off today, and emergency services say they're prepared to handle several inches of rain, but warn that certain areas like Union Point Park, where I'm at now, could see flooding and power outages are expected, but storm surge should be minimal. We asked which areas people need to be wary of.
We're targeting looking at the lower end of Adams Creek Road down into Harlow community where they're surrounded by the Intercoastal Waterway and the Neuse River, kind of like a little peninsula area down there. They have a historical flooding problem anyway, so it's going to probably be a high impact zone.
Other flood-prone areas include the Bridgeton area, as well as areas along the Trent River, Bryce's Creek, and Lawson Creek Park. Kite adds people should not drive through standing water if they're in these areas. He also says that this is the type of weather where people just need to hunker down, ride it out, and stay safe. Live in New Bern, Sarah Gray Barr, 9 on your side.
Thank you. Here in Greenville, the Greenville Utilities Commission is prepared. GUC officials have crews scheduled overnight and into Thursday morning in case winds and rain from the storm may cause power outages and down power lines.
And that really includes moving some equipment around our service area just in case we have outages throughout the area. It allows our crews to respond more efficiently to those large outages. Typically, we'll put supplies in different areas around the region.
Now, if you want to report a down power line or outage, GUC officials say to call their hotline. That number is 855-767-2GUC.
And we are keeping track of school closings for you tomorrow. Pitt, Beaufort, Onslow, Carteret, and Craven County Public Schools are all closed. There are many others. We have a full list of school and business closings on our website, WNCT.com. You can find them right there on the home page. You can also see the closings scrolling across the bottom of your screen throughout the night.
Still ahead on WNCT 9 News at 6, we take you back to New Bern. Our Courtney Courtwright caught up with businesses there and how they're preparing for Idalia.
And even though Idalia has weakened some, significant flooding and tornado potential is expected in eastern North Carolina tonight and tomorrow. We'll talk about the adjustments coming up next.